Have you ever felt like your life was part of a much bigger plan? Like certain moments, certain people, even certain struggles were destined to happen? What if I told you they were? Not by chance, not by fate in the way most people think, but by your own choice. Long before you were even born, your soul, the eternal essence of who you are, chose this life. Every challenge, every success, every heartbreak, every triumph, all of it was part of a plan you helped create. For thousands of years, ancient mystics, spiritual masters, and hidden esoteric texts have whispered about the 1,000-year reincarnation cycle, a cycle where the soul moves through life after life, shaping its destiny, refining itself, learning, or staying trapped in the same patterns for centuries. But here's the truth they never wanted you to know. Death is not the end. It never was. It is merely a doorway, a transition to another phase of existence, where you review your past, reflect on your choices, and prepare for the next life. And this cycle? It has been repeating for far longer than you can imagine. Right now, you are exactly where your soul intended you to be. But there's a reason you're hearing this now, a reason you're starting to remember. Because there is a way to break free, a way to step beyond the cycle, to reclaim what has been forgotten, and to awaken to a truth so powerful it could change the course of your entire existence. But the choice? That's still yours to make. Everything you've ever experienced, every heartbreak, every victory, every soul you've ever met, was not random. It was part of a design, a blueprint your soul created before you even entered this world. Right now, you are living out a life that was carefully chosen, not by some external force, not by destiny as most people define it, but by you. Before your first breath, before your mind was shaped by the world, your soul knew exactly what it needed to experience in this lifetime. And now, as you listen to these words, something deep inside you is stirring. A memory, a recognition, a whisper from beyond this single existence, reminding you that you have been here before. Because life is not a single event. It is not a beginning and an end. It is part of something so much greater. A cycle that has been repeating for thousands of years. A cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, guiding the evolution of the soul. And if you are here, hearing this now, it means you are beginning to wake up to that truth. But here's what most people never realize. The world you live in, the physical realm, is only a fraction of what exists. It is a temporary stage where souls come to learn, to experience, to evolve. And when the body dies, the journey is far from over. What happens next is not a mystery. It has been known for thousands of years, hidden in ancient texts, whispered in secret teachings, understood by mystics and sages who saw beyond the illusion of life and death. The moment you take your last breath, something extraordinary happens. The physical world fades away and you begin to transition. You feel lighter, freer, more expansive than ever before. And almost instantly, you enter the life review. A panoramic replay of your entire existence, where you see and feel everything you ever did. Every word you spoke, every action you took, every emotion you ignited in another person. It all returns to you not as judgment, but as understanding. Imagine seeing your entire life not from your own perspective, but from the viewpoint of everyone you ever encountered. Every kindness, every cruelty, every moment of love, every moment of neglect. You feel it all, not as punishment, but as a lesson. Because this is the first step in the soul's journey after death. It is not about blame. It is about awareness, about recognizing the ripple effect of your choices, the way your energy shaped the lives around you. But this is only the beginning, because after the life review, the soul moves into the second stage, the astral plane, the in-between realm, the place where unprocessed emotions, unresolved karma, and lingering attachments are confronted. This is where many souls remain stuck. The fears they held onto in life, the desires that controlled them, the unresolved pain they never healed. It does not simply disappear. It follows them. It must be faced. And for many, this is where the cycle begins again. Those who remain attached to the material world, those who refuse to let go of past wounds, Those who are still consumed by regret or greed or resentment, they will be drawn back into the physical realm, repeating the same lessons, meeting the same souls in different lifetimes, playing out the same unresolved dramas again and again. But some souls, some remember. They see the patterns. They recognize the illusions. They awaken to the truth that they are not merely passengers in this cycle, but creators of it. And for those who are ready, there is another step. Beyond the astral plane lies the realm of thought, the final stage before reincarnation. This is the space where souls reflect, where they refine their next path, where they make the most important decision of all, who they will become next. Here, in this higher state of consciousness, the soul chooses its next incarnation, its next set of challenges, its next opportunity for growth. Every major event, every defining relationship, every trial and triumph, it is all mapped out, not by chance, but by choice. So if you have ever wondered why your life is the way it is, why you were born into a certain family, why you face the struggles you do, the answer is clear. You chose it, not as punishment, not as suffering, but as experience, as a means of growth, as a way to refine the soul's evolution. And yet, despite this divine blueprint, most people never remember. The moment they enter the physical world, the memories fade. The lessons they intended to learn become buried beneath the weight of everyday life. The deeper truth of existence is replaced with distractions, illusions, and fears. And so the cycle continues. Lifetime after lifetime, soul after soul, forgetting who they truly are, repeating the same lessons, trapped in a loop that has lasted for thousands of years. But not everyone stays asleep. Some begin to remember, some start to see the signs, the moments of déjà vu, the inexplicable connections with people they've just met, the deep knowing that certain experiences were always meant to happen. These are not coincidences. These are glimpses of a deeper reality trying to break through, the soul's way of whispering, "Wake up, you've been here before." And the question is, what will you do with that knowledge? Because once you understand that your soul has chosen this life, that nothing is random, that every hardship, every moment of joy, every connection has a purpose, you begin to see reality differently. You stop blaming, you stop feeling like a victim, you start asking the bigger questions. Why am I here? What am I meant to learn? And how do I break free from this cycle? Because the cycle will continue until the lesson is learned, until the attachments are released, until the soul no longer needs to return. This is why some souls reincarnate quickly while others remain in the higher realms for centuries. The ones who return fast are those still caught in the cycle. Those who stay longer are those who have reached a higher level of awareness, preparing for a more profound path. And then there are the few, the souls who have transcended entirely, the ones who no longer need to come back, who have completed their journey and dissolved the illusion of separation. These are the ascended ones, the enlightened beings, the masters who have moved beyond the reincarnation cycle. Some choose to return not out of necessity, but out of service, to guide others toward awakening. These are the teachers, the prophets, the ones who remind humanity that they are more than just flesh and bone, that they are and always have been infinite. So now, as you listen to this, ask yourself, where are you in this journey? Are you repeating the same lessons? Are you ready to awaken? Or have you already begun to remember? Because the choice is yours. It always has been. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the illusion begins to break. The veil that once kept the truth hidden starts to lift, and suddenly life no longer feels like a series of random events. It feels orchestrated, guided, designed for something far greater than what the world has told you. And that is when the real awakening begins. Because now you know. You were never just a body. You were never just a mind shaped by genetics and environment. You are something infinite, something that has existed before this lifetime and will continue long after it ends. The soul that chose this life did not do so by accident. It was intentional, precise, and purposeful. But if your soul planned this life before you were born, the next question becomes why? Every soul incarnates for a reason. Some return to heal old wounds. Some return to balance karma. Some come back to guide others. And some, trapped in the cycle, return simply because they have not yet realized they can leave. The soul's journey does not start with birth and end with death. It is part of something far greater, a 1,000-year cycle of reincarnation, where lifetimes stack upon lifetimes, creating a story far more complex than what any single existence can reveal. And what you are experiencing right now, it is just one chapter, one moment in a much larger design. After death, the process begins again. The soul enters the afterlife, but what happens next depends entirely on what it has learned. Some souls, filled with regret, guilt, or unfinished desires, become weighed down. They stay attached to the earthly realm, unable to move forward. Others, having completed their lessons, ascend to higher planes, existing in states of pure consciousness before eventually choosing their next incarnation. And this is where the greatest secret lies. Before reincarnating, before stepping into a new body, the soul makes a choice. It does not enter blindly. It does not come back as an accident. It chooses. Your family, your challenges, your talents, your struggles. It is all chosen, not to punish, but to refine. The relationships in your life, the ones that lift you up and the ones that break you apart, are not random. You have met them before. Some souls reincarnate together over and over, playing different roles, creating different experiences, all in an effort to teach each other the lessons they have not yet mastered. A mother in one lifetime may be a daughter in another. A lover in this life may have been a rival in the past. The souls we feel an instant connection with, those who seem familiar the moment we meet them, are often the ones we have traveled with before. This is why some people feel like home the second you meet them, and why others, without reason, feel like someone you cannot trust. It is because your soul remembers, even if your mind does not. But the choices are not just about relationships. They are about challenges too. Have you ever wondered why certain struggles seem to follow you no matter what you do? Why some people are born into suffering while others seem to have everything handed to them? Why life sometimes feels unfair, unpredictable, or cruel? It is because life is not random. It is a mirror, reflecting back what the soul has chosen to experience, what it still needs to overcome. Some souls return to learn patience. Some come back to understand forgiveness. Others incarnate to break free from cycles of fear, greed, or attachment. And some return to awaken. Because here is the greatest truth of all. Most souls remain trapped in the reincarnation cycle, repeating the same lessons for hundreds, even thousands of years. They come back lifetime after lifetime, facing the same fears, the same struggles, the same karmic loops, until one day something shifts. Until one day the soul remembers, and when that happens, the cycle begins to break. This is the point where reincarnation is no longer about learning through suffering. It becomes about transcending it. The moment a soul realizes that life is a self-created experience, that it has the power to break the patterns, that it is not bound by the past, but can choose something different, that is the moment true freedom begins. But breaking free is not easy. The world will still try to pull you back. The illusions of material success, of validation, of power, of attachment will still call to you. The fears will still whisper. The ego will still cling to its identity. Because this is the final test, the final lesson before a soul can step beyond the reincarnation cycle is simple but profound. Detach from the illusion of separation. Understand that you are not your past mistakes. You are not your fears. You are not your suffering. You are something far greater. Something that has existed beyond time, beyond form, beyond identity itself. You are the observer, the creator, the dreamer, and the dream. And when you realize this, when you truly know it, not just in your mind but in your soul, everything changes. Because then, reincarnation is no longer a cycle. It becomes a choice. Some souls choose to return, not because they have to, but because they want to help others awaken. These are the souls who become teachers, guides, prophets, visionaries. They do not return to suffer but to serve. They return to remind others of what they have forgotten. And then there are the others, the ones who step beyond, the ones who merge back into the infinite, no longer bound by form, no longer needing to return. These are the ones who have completed their journey, who have seen through every illusion, who have transcended every attachment. But here you are, in this life, hearing these words, remembering. So the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue the cycle? Will you return again, bound by the same patterns, the same illusions? Or will you begin to break free? Because now you know, and once you know, you can never go back. There is a moment in every soul's journey when it reaches a crossroads. It can either continue the cycle, repeating lifetimes, carrying old wounds, reliving the same struggles, or it can awaken. And that moment, that choice, it is happening right now. Because the truth is, most souls do not break free. They remain entangled in the same energetic patterns, lifetime after lifetime, pulled by desires, fears, attachments, and karma. They follow the script of reincarnation without realizing they can rewrite it. But once you begin to remember, once you know that your life is not an accident, but a design, a choice, a carefully crafted experience, you can never look at reality the same way again. So the question is, how do you break the cycle? How does a soul transcend reincarnation? How do you step beyond the illusion and return to what you truly are? It starts with one simple yet powerful shift. You must wake up, because right now you are dreaming. This life you are living, this identity you believe is you, it is part of the experience, but it is not your highest self. Your real self, your eternal self, exists beyond the limitations of this physical world. And the more you identify with the temporary, the ego, the body, the attachments, the more you bind yourself to the cycle. This is why ancient spiritual masters spoke of detachment, not as an escape, not as indifference, but as freedom. The less you are ruled by the illusions of this world, the less power they have over you. The moment you stop defining yourself by what you own, who you impress, how much you control, the closer you come to liberation, because the cycle of reincarnation is fueled by one thing: attachment. Attachment to material things, attachment to power, attachment to pain, even attachment to identity itself. These are the chains that keep the soul bound to the wheel of rebirth. And that is why breaking free requires something most people fear: letting go. Not letting go of life itself, but of the false beliefs that keep you asleep. The idea that you are separate from the universe, the illusion that happiness comes from outside of you, the lie that suffering is inevitable rather than a choice. This is why enlightenment is not something that happens after death. It happens here. It happens now. Because if you do not awaken in this life, you will return again and again until the lesson is learned. And the lesson? You were never separate. You were never small. You were never powerless. You are the dreamer, the creator, the divine force behind your own existence. This is the realization that liberates the soul. This is why some beings choose to return, not because they must, but because they wish to guide others. These are the great teachers, the enlightened ones, the masters who live among us, walking between worlds, remembering what so many have forgotten. And now you are remembering too, because once the soul awakens, the cycle can no longer hold it. The chains of illusion fall away, and for the first time you see reality as it truly is: a game, a dream, a temporary experience in an infinite ocean of consciousness. So now the choice is yours. Will you return? Will you stay caught in the cycles of karma, of desire, of attachment? Or will you step beyond? Because your soul is not bound by time. It is not confined to the script it once wrote. At any moment it can choose something different, and that moment is now. There is a moment, whether in this life or the next, where every soul faces the ultimate question: do I continue, or do I transcend? Most souls return, not because they must, but because they are still attached. They still believe they are separate. They still cling to old wounds, old identities, old desires. And so they are drawn back into the physical world, pulled by unfinished lessons, unconscious fears, and karmic cycles they have yet to complete. But some remember, some awaken, some realize that they were never trapped at all, only dreaming. And the ones who remember, they step beyond. Because once you understand that you are the creator of your reality, once you see through the illusion of separation, the cycle no longer holds power over you. You are no longer bound by karma because you no longer see life as something happening to you. You see it as something happening through you. Every experience, every relationship, every moment of suffering was never meant to punish. It was meant to teach. But what happens when there is nothing left to learn? What happens when the soul has walked through every fire, faced every shadow, broken every chain? It returns to the infinite, no longer in need of form, no longer bound by identity, no longer caught in the illusion of duality. It merges back into the ocean of duality. It merges back into the everything and nothing all at once. But here's where it gets even more profound. Some souls, even after reaching liberation, choose to return, not because they have to, but because they wish to guide others. These are the souls who walk among us, disguised as ordinary humans, but carrying extraordinary wisdom. They are the ones who see beyond the veil, who move through life untouched by its illusions. They do not cling to power, or wealth, or validation, because they know none of it is real. They are here for something greater. And now, so are you. Because if you have made it this far, if these words resonate with something deep inside you, it is because you are remembering, not just who you are in this life, but who you have always been. And now, you must ask yourself, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue as before, living as though this life is all there is? Or will you begin to see the patterns, the lessons, the hidden messages that have been guiding you all along? Will you break the cycle, or will you keep playing the game? Because now, the choice is no longer unconscious, it is yours. And once you know the truth, you can never unknow it. So, what will you choose? Because the next life, the next path, the next awakening, it begins now. And your soul is waiting.